Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Courageous Clarity Challenge. And today was going to be day 3, which is our final day of the free preview of the Courageous Clarity Challenge journal. And I have enjoyed you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it and that most importantly, you have found either the path to getting more clarity, identify the areas that you want to find more clarity, or know exactly what you needed clarity about. That is possible in the little time that we've been meeting every day, because the time that we've been meeting is great and everything. However, let me share this over to our other group so they can join us. But the thing that I really want you to get out of this is to go and do the work. And when you get off of here and you go and do the work, you're telling yourself that you are a person that takes care of business. You are training yourself to know that you are going to put in the work to get the results and put in the extra effort that's going to be required. So let me share this with them really quickly and then we will get started. At this time, if you have any questions or anything that you want me to address right now, feel free to drop that in the chat and I will address those. Let me open my chat box up so I could possibly see it. That would be nice. Okay, we'll do that. And if you are watching this on YouTube, I would like for you to comment YouTube. Okay, I'm almost done, y'all. I hope y'all have had an amazing day, but this has been a weird one for me. But I look forward to these sessions because they help me to rein it back in and pull it together. So I'm thankful for this. I just finished up seeing a client here in the office and we're gonna jump right in. So when we started out, if you've been with me, you know that on Sunday we actually started a little early. And the reason being is that we were priming ourselves to get the maximum impact over these few days that we've been meeting. Now tomorrow we will have a bonus session, and so in order and that is going to be for those who upgraded to VIP. And I want you to submit your questions that you have and make sure that you schedule your VIP session, being that we have completed the challenge officially tomorrow. Now, and remember that you have to schedule your session within 30 days of tomorrow because we're going to be discussing and talking about making a plan for moving forward, right? So we're going to need to make sure that we get those scheduled. Now, on Sunday, we did a little mirror exercise, which is different from the typical exercise that most coaches do. And I just thought it was really interesting because I think we are doing very well as far as like when we're coming. I'm really pleased with the effort that I've been seeing people put into our personal development. And I'm hoping that over the next couple of years, we're going to see that pay off, that we're going to see a change in the way people treat each other. Sorry if y'all get a little feedback. Make sure that we're good. And we are. I always have to check this software, y'all. But yeah, I'm hoping that we see an increase in people treating people better, things like that over the next couple of years. So the mirror exercise was really about you looking at you, but a clearer view, acknowledging who you really are today, not who you aspire to be, not who you were yesterday, but encouraging you to embrace the person that you are today. And then we did that. And if you are in the group and you missed that, you can go back and get the handout and you can do that work now because it's never too late to do that. The thing about it is that the way this journal is constructed, yes, it does build upon each other, But if you so happen to do it out of order, once you've completed, you see it. But if you so happen to do it out of order, especially with the handouts that we added, they can work together basically. So we started off with that, and then I introduced you guys into what is the morning check-in. So as you go through this process, you're actually training yourself. You know, all of you say you don't have time to do this, you don't have time to do that. Well, you're training yourself to make time for that thing. And we have 3 times throughout the day that we're going to check in. And so that's the morning check in. And then as you go on throughout our day, we may have a good day, we may have a bad day, we may, whatever. Then you want to check back in with yourself with the midday reset. And then what we're going to work on today is the evening reflection when we bring it all together. So on day 1, we talked about what does clarity mean to you? And y'all jotted that down, right? Then we went on day 2, and I elaborated on how we have our vision boards and things of that nature, and we some people may even have like a dream line, but we nailed it down to create our vision map. And the point of the map was for us to be able to know where we are, and we're going to look at it and refer to where we're trying to go. So earlier, if you were on here with me, I gave like a little recap of that. So I would encourage you to watch that video if you want to get more in depth. But if you're really serious, go back and watch the replay from yesterday because we had some examples and everything. And the biggest piece to me with that is to keep it simple. That is like my go-to statement right now is keeping things simple. So I picked out 3 areas that I wanted to work on myself when I was doing my journal, and it was spiritual, personal, and business. And then I did a timeline because it's really, we don't call it a timeline, but it's a vision map. So it is similar to a timeline. And then you put the knots on there, on the dots on the line, on the areas that you want to work on, and then you note as you progress or as you backtrack. You can note and look. And then, so when things start becoming clearer to you, when you start seeing things flow, when you start able to, like right now, I'm back, not all the way back, but I am back more in soul coach mode because I was on a sabbatical for like a year and a half, I think it was. But so I was going to have to prime myself to get back to coaching, get back to presenting lessons and things of that nature as I'm prepping and getting myself ready to be on the stage more, to be in the coaching lane as far as the corporate arena. So, I want to brush up my skills. What that meant was I needed to take a deeper look at me and also note if I'm happy or not. Am I happy with where I am? That's something that we heavily overlook is our happiness. And that's one reason why a lot of people are disgruntled. So for those of you who have the Courageous Clarity Journal, yesterday's um, lesson was on page 10. And so I'm going to look through here. And what it does, y'all, those of you who don't have it, is it is a 4-week journey. So there have 1 week has 7 days in it. So we fast tracked yesterday. I'm pulling from different areas that I think you will get the maximum impact in this short little span of time that we have, and sharing with you so that you can go and implement it and then make a decision to actually get the real journal and go and do the work. So let's see. And they have 2 different looks, but the other ones haven't came in yet. So we're going to do week 2. I'm going to pick from week 2 this day. And we're going to focus on a evening reflection. Now, the cool thing about it is after you finish every week, then when you get ready to start a new week, you have a little message from myself, and you would scan the QR code and listen to it before you go into the next one. So I guide you throughout the journey and help you to reset. And so let's see, which one do we want to do? I was looking earlier and I could not figure out, I couldn't make up my mind because there's so much good stuff in here. But let me see one that I probably I spent a little bit more time on that you guys will get that would apply to you today. I talk about that a lot, so I won't do that. Let's see. Mm. Week 2, day 6 is a good one. If you have this journal, make sure you dig in and get week 1 is like building the foundation. Week 2 is getting you used to the new moves. Week 3 is holding your hand while you change your life. Week 4 is basically putting all those things in action. Now let's see. Yeah, I do that sometimes with my clients. And that's the coolest thing about it, y'all. Y'all are really getting my coaching program. I can't decide. I took a poll in the group and people are quiet. And so, no, I decided that I wanted to do rewriting the narrative because that's pretty popular. And I talk about the other one a lot. So, y'all will get that training if you continue to follow me. So, rewriting the narrative. That is one of the buzzwords that's out there. And basically what that means is taking the story and changing it to suit you today. So whatever you're going to take note when you're working through this, where those limiting beliefs that you're carrying around, where did they originate? What you're going to have to call them out and actually say what they're meaning. And it's going to get pretty intimate, y'all. It's going to embrace yourself. You're going to have to take some time. Remember, we're going to be raw, we're going to be honest, and we're going to be present when we're doing this. So that's why we're not going to just do it like halfway. Like if you're listening to this right now and you can't really give your full attention to it, just listen to me. And then later on, because I won't be on long, I promise y'all, but go later on, make some quiet time when you can sit with this and really apply yourself to it, because that's how you're going to get the results that you're seeking. So let's see, we're going to skip over to week 3, and you're going to spend that whole week with doing things that are going to help you to rewrite the narrative of your life. So on the morning check-in, of course, it sets the stage for you to do that, and then the midday reset. On this in particular page, it has you to write the new narrative. So, for those of you that work with me and is new to this, you're gonna get inside the group. I'm gonna do it for the group because everybody don't know how to do this. So, and you may think you do, but you may not be doing it properly. And I know what y'all are gonna do. You're gonna get off of here and go to Chat GTP and tell it to tell you how to do it, and you're going to have an idea. So I encourage you to go ahead and do that. And then I'll do a little exercise to help us because this is a work and it's going to take some time. But anyway, so this one right here. All of us have these stories. This is the one we're going to do. All of us have these stories in our head, right? That we tell ourselves. And we were in a group a couple years back, and we were talking it was a communication group that our church was doing, and at that time we were struggling with communication like really bad in our marriage. We were just like, look, we gotta figure out how we're gonna talk to each other, how, because we have to talk basically. But and we had both had valid points that we wanted to get across to each other, but we couldn't figure out how to do that. And we both were thinking we were right, right? And so what I loved about it is that it pointed out is that it has 3 sides to every story, and people always say there's 2. And that's not true. And that's what was going on. That's why we kept butting heads. Because if there's only 2 sides to a story, then somebody got to be wrong. Both people can't be right, right? So you have the side that you bring to the table and think that happened. Then the other person has the side that they think that happened. And then there's the truth, what really actually happened, the unbiased opinion. So I want you to consider that when you're going through this and you're noting the limiting beliefs. And so one of the questions is going to have you to point out, where did this originate? Was it from family? Was it from school? Was it from church? With me, just to share a little bit, all of my limiting beliefs came from external stimuli. That made me feel pretty good about my upbringing. but I'm pretty sure there probably was some things there that I missed. But when it comes to the ones that still bother me today, it was the external stimuli. And then I noted how I felt about that. And then I had to sat with that and I thought about, how we do our best to raise our children and then we send them to school, those of us who go use public and private schools. But they go out into the world and then they learn all this junk. And, I thought about that. And some of us, we're bringing it home from extended family. You're getting it from work. You're getting it from just society because thankfully I didn't have this great thing called social media when I was coming up, or it would have been more stuff to give me limiting beliefs. And then they have people out there that intentionally lead you astray on purpose. Let's not act like they don't exist. But the evening reflection for this would look like when we've identified them and maybe you've done a little work further and noted where they come from. So your evening reflection will be like, how does the story still influence me today? That's gonna take some honesty because a lot of times we want to act like I've overcame that or I'm not bothered by that no more. You act like that, or maybe it's just me. You act like that because someone's been telling you all of your life or at a point in life when you were very vulnerable that is something wrong with you for that affecting you, you know? And even though you've overcame, have you really healed from that? How can you heal from something that you haven't addressed? Good question, right? So I'm going to share a little bit about where my evening reflection related to how that story, the limiting beliefs, still affect me today. One, it makes me second guess anything I win and work for. How many people can identify with that? And when I mean win, I mean like when you put in the work for it and you finally get your win coming, or when you just do the work that you're supposed to, like when you complete school and it makes you find yourself downplaying things. Well, track that back and see where that came from. But if you have the journal, you're already going to be done that. And so basically, in your evening reflection, you're wrapping it up and making it make sense, right? Now, what people want you to do is they try to tell you to rewrite the narrative, but they don't give you this background on the steps to be able to do it. So for those of you who have the journal, you don't even really have to worry about going and visiting Chat GTP or watching anybody else's videos. Do the journal. It teaches you how to do it. And the coolest thing about it is that it teaches you in a way that you're going to retain and you're going to be able to do on your own without having to put so much emphasis on it. Now, if you go and read a whole bunch of stuff, because look, this is my passion. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. I'm not saying that you can't, but this isn't your career. This is not the thing that you choose to want to do. You're never gonna skip over opportunity to educate yourself. But you go glance at that to get you a better understanding, but then you come back and you do the work that I put for you right here in the journal. Because that's the reason why you purchased it in the first place. That's why you're here. So that's what coaching is all about. It's about giving you the fast track to the maximum, fast tracking to maximum results. That's what we're doing. So another thing I noted was mm, makes me consider my worth for any worthwhile thing or opportunity. Y'all wouldn't think that about me, right? But I have to call myself on these things. So don't think that you're going to do this work, you're going to do this journal, and then things are just going to magically disappear. What you're going to do is, because you're thinking clearer, you're going to call yourself on these things while you're doing it. You're aware of it now, so you can stop it at the root. We miss a whole lot of stuff, even those of us that are woke. We miss a whole lot of stuff when it comes to self. We see everything that everybody else do, but we don't see what we're doing. And part of that is we neglect ourselves. Hmm. Yeah. And I'm gonna say I don't want it to feel like we're coming from a we don't do anything wrong type. Y'all, That's not my people. My people don't think like that. The people that follow me, y'all don't think like that. So I can say that to y'all. It's coming from an area of neglecting oneself. And you honestly or truly overlook it. Or you play it down like, I'm not really doing that. No. Because you don't want to address it. But you don't want to address it because of what? What the journal guided you into. You don't want to address it because it's going to make you revisit where this came from in the first place. And maybe you're not ready to go there. And if you find yourself doing that, that's a clear indication that you need to go get in some therapy. And now you know exactly to tell them what you want to talk about, what is bothering you. Because until you address that, it's going to continue to follow you. It's going to continue to follow you in your life. It's going to show up in your career, your business, the way you parent, the way you do everything. We're carrying all this baggage around. Well, it's time for us to put this down, right? So, um, when I say opportunities, so when people offer me opportunities or if I get something, I'll be like, the first thing my brain wants to do, we retrain the brain, right? The first thing my brain wants to do is to tell me that I'm not worthy of this, that there's someone else that is more worthy. And what I have to do at that moment is to acknowledge where that's coming from and say, no, this is for you, or it would not be being offered to you. And then also going a little further and saying, this is what you have prayed for. And that makes me, my Christian walk, that makes me not take it for granted and move forward boldly and courageously in spite of me being scared. Yeah. In spite of me feeling like I'm less than, that I'm not worthy because the Lord thought I was. So he also thought I was ready. So that means I'm ready, don't it? Yeah. We how do we say we put for whatever reason we feel like that when we say we're ready, that means that we're perfect, that we are invincible. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna nail it. Sometimes you're gonna go out there and you're gonna nail it without skipping a beat. And sometimes you're gonna bomb it to you, but you're still gonna do the job that you were sent out there to do. Maybe the people need to, like for me, sometimes my brain is foggy. And like right now, I have notes, but the notes are doing their job. When I get foggy, I look down at the notes and then I start talking and it keeps me on task. And then I can continue to talk and to teach. There's somebody out there watching this right now that have something to share with other people that people are waiting on, but you're waiting to get it perfect. You're worried about the way that you sound when you speak. One of the only thing you need to worry about when it comes to speaking is speaking clear where the people can understand you. I have a heavy accent. Those who know me understand me very well, but I know that I talk a little muffled. I know that you can hear the southern twang. Sometimes sometimes like some of the slang will come in, but that's the way I talk. That's the way I talk. And so one of the things I do when I work with someone is that I encourage them to fully embrace who they are and to step away from this notion that if they don't talk a certain type of way, the American way, that they're not talking professional. If you have an accent, you have an accent because that's where you're from or that's where your people are from. That is you. All we need you to do is to speak clearly so that we can understand you. Or turn a translator on, but get up and share your message. If you weren't meant to share the message, you wouldn't have it, and you wouldn't have the ability to talk. You wouldn't have platforms to get on. People wouldn't be asking for you. You wouldn't feel that zeal on the inside to get out there and do the thing. You wouldn't feel that if you weren't meant to do it. Another thing that we do, because people that follow me are generally humble. We humble ourselves out of a whole lot of blessings. And that's because we confuse that meaning. I'm humble, very humble. But when it comes to the things that the Lord has done for me, my gifts and things like that, I'm very bold with that because I'm not bragging on myself. I'm bragging on my blessing and the one that's sent it to me. I want people to see Him working me. I want to be a beacon of light for those that are lost, those that are veering off, those that have just found themselves and they're trying to stay on the path. Because I'm a Christian, that's what I'm still here for. I'm still here to work. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're addressing these limiting beliefs because they keep you from doing that. So you do that. And then when you sit down with this evening reflection, this one right here, when you sit with it, it will probably be long. Because if you sit down and you actually do it correctly, you're going to trigger yourself. And then you're going to start writing. And with you writing that, you're going to be addressing things so to prepare you the next day, the very next day. When you do that evening reflection, you're allowing your mind, your body, your soul, your whole being to breathe finally and let all that excess air out. And you're going to feel so much better the next morning. And you set the tone for you to start actually rewriting the narrative the very next day. And the journal starts you off with that in the morning. We have broken this down to bite-sized pieces, y'all, so that you can actually do it effectively, so that it can benefit you in a way where you won't shut down. I share with people all the time that work with me that journaling is one of the most slept on coping skills. It's my number one to go to because you can write faster than you can think. How many of you have actually caught yourself, like if you were jotting something down real quick, like say you're watching TV and jotting down like some notes or a couple of things you want somebody to pick you up from the store, and you don't wrote like three things and you ain't even paying attention because we can write faster than we can think. So with me saying that, you can write it on this paper before your subconscious comes in and tells you, no, we're not going there. But we need to go there because that's what's keeping you cloudy. We've experienced a lot of trauma lately, y'all. And that's just the average person. Not talking about people that really have traumatic experiences going on. If you have something that's been traumatic to you, yeah, you're not going to be able to think clearly. That's normal. Yeah. So apply yourself to these journal lessons, y'all. Comment in the group, y'all. Keep following me on YouTube, y'all. We have a lot of work to do. And I've given you the roadmap and the tools to put in your toolbox to be able to go forward and do it. Everything that you see me doing right now is a product of this. Yes, I put in a whole lot of work. But in order for me to lay it out and put it together and really show up 100%, I had to uncover some areas that I was stuck in that I didn't know I was stuck in. If this has been appealing to you, I encourage you to go ahead and book your consultation so we can talk that out because maybe you're like, well, I have a message that I want to share. I want to create a course. I want to help people. I want to mentor people. I think I might want to coach, or I know I want to coach, or I'm a coach, but I'm stuck. I don't know how to effectively get my people to where they're going. I'm really unsure about marketing. I'm interested in working in the mental health or mental wellness space. Um, I would like to book a life coaching appointment, or I want to talk to a therapist. Any of those. Because that's the cool thing about me being the founder. I'm the coach that helps the coaches. Yes. Yes. So if I can't help you and you are sincere, then I can get you to someone who can. But this is the doorway. And a lot of people are sleeping on it. But you're not those people, right? I see you. You're showing up every day. You're doing the work. You're commenting. You're liking. You're messaging. The thing about it is, when you get into things like this of the intimate nature, you're not going to see a whole lot of, especially you guys that are maybe coaching on those things. You're not going to get a whole lot of likes, shares, comments because it's people are not ready to share. Remember on day one, we talked about that we don't share with the people that we don't trust and know the things that we aren't healed from. If you don't share anything that you are not healed from because people can use it and will use it to tear you down. Now you done backtrack. And we got that work to do plus some more. So that's why I share that because I know a lot of people are ready to do things. You're ready to make content. You're ready to create your own journals. You're ready to write books. You're ready to create programs. You're ready to do all this. But have you done the work to heal self first? That's the first step. Thank you guys for joining us for the Courageous Clarity Challenge. And this is the last day. If you want to continue, then go ahead and go to simplythebestcoach.com, get your journal, and I will see you tomorrow. VIP, schedule your follow-up AHA session so we can unpack the things that you've done. Even if you have not been able to attend every day, go ahead and schedule that session because my calendar fills up quickly. And I want you to reserve that before it's taken. Now, in addition to that, if you have any questions, any comments, please drop them in the chat and I'll address them. But I just want to thank you guys for trusting me with this time, and I hope I have not kept you too long because the human brain starts doing all kind of stuff when we keep them too long. So that's why I try not to do very long sessions, lives. But I have really enjoyed this, and I hope that you have as well. If you are not inside of the group, go over there and get it. The link is all over this page. If you are viewing, if you are in the group and you are viewing this and you're not following me, please subscribe to the YouTube channel as we will continue this work. But I'm going to be checking the group over the next day and addressing the questions that you put in there. But thank you guys. Y'all have a great evening, and submit any questions that you may want me to address tomorrow. So tomorrow will be open Q&A day. See y'all later. Bye.